The story begins with young Vasily and his grandfather venturing into the wilderness to learn the ancient skill of hunting. His grandfather, a seasoned hunter, teaches him precision, patience, and keen observation. As they wait in the woods, Vasily's heart races. A wolf emerges, majestic and threatening. His grandfather gives a nod, signaling that it's time. With steady hands, Vasily takes aim and shoots. The wolf falls, and his grandfather watches with pride, knowing this moment marks a turning point for Vasily. Vasily doesn't realize that this act of courage will shape his life and lead him into the heart of war. The scene then shifts, transporting us to a time of great turmoil during World War II. At the start of the war, the German army had already taken control of much of Europe and was advancing into the Soviet Union, aiming for the oil-rich lands of the Soviet-ruled Asian part. The scene unfolds as young Vasily, along with countless others, is thrust onto a train, heading toward the brutal Battle of Stalingrad. In response, the Soviet Red Army fortified the city, determined to hold their ground. The Germans launched a savage assault, killing many Russian soldiers in the chaos. To reinforce the Red Army, a force of newly recruited troops, mostly young men, is sent by train to Stalingrad, among them Vasily. After disembarking, the soldiers are marched toward the front lines, filled with a mix of fear, uncertainty, and resolve. Their faces show desperation and defiance, as tension fills the air and the soldiers struggle to grasp the scale of the bloodshed ahead. The Russian military evacuates civilians from Stalingrad to make room for the defense forces. The recruits, including Vasily, are ferried across the Volga River in boats, heading toward the heart of the battlefield. As they board boats, the harsh reality of war becomes evident. High-ranking officials, in a chilling display of control, fire upon soldiers trying to flee, executing those attempting to desert. These executions are a grim reminder of the high stakes, showing the utter lack of mercy for any signs of fear or hesitation. A striking image emerges, the desperate shortage of ammunition. Each soldier is handed either a single bullet or a rifle, reflecting the Soviet Union's dire circumstances. Yet, despite this scarcity, there is a palpable sense of unity and patriotism. The soldiers, though underprepared, are filled with fierce determination to protect their homeland. Their patriotism, rather than the lack of resources, becomes their most powerful weapon as they march toward the chaos of the battlefield. This moment captures the harsh realities of war, where the battlefield is filled with countless bodies, smoke, and destruction. As the scene progresses, a car collides and tips over onto the battlefield. From it, Danilov emerges and hides under the bodies of dead soldiers. As the Germans approach, they fire at the dead corpses to ensure none of them are alive. Danilov, hiding beneath the bodies of fallen Soviet soldiers, waits for the right moment to strike. He takes a rifle from a dead soldier and aims at the high-ranking German officers in the distance. Vasily, a low-ranking soldier who has been hiding among the corpses and quietly observing, gives Danilov his share of bullets and suggests that he should fire when there is a sound of bombing, a blast, or gunfire to mask the sound of his rifle, so the Germans cannot locate them. Danilov begins to lose his confidence and courage. Despite his position and the clear shot, he hesitates, paralyzed by doubt. It is then that Vasily asks Danilov for permission to take the shot. Vasily, understanding this is his moment to prove himself, takes the shot with incredible precision, eliminating the German officers one by one. Danilov, impressed by Vasily's calm demeanor and sharpshooting skill, realizes the depth of Vasily's abilities. After they return to Soviet headquarters, Danilov writes about Vasily's bravery and sharpshooting in a letter, which is later published in the newspaper, turning Vasily into a national hero. Meanwhile, the high-ranking officials of the Red Army send a report stating that they are brutally losing the Battle of Stalingrad and request a resolution to overcome the crisis. Realizing the severity of the situation, Nikita decides to address the issue and calls a meeting with all the high-ranking officials of the Red Army. In the meeting, when asked for suggestions, Danilov proposes that they should make an example of patriotism to inspire the troops. When Nikita asks if Danilov knows of any heroes, Danilov suggests Vasily's name, impressed by his actions. Recognizing the potential of Vasily's story, Nikita orders that it be published on the front page of all Soviet newspapers. Based on his exceptional skill and growing fame, Vasily is transferred to the sniper division. His newfound celebrity spreads across the country, and he becomes a national hero and an icon of the Red Army. His success serves as inspiration to others, and more soldiers begin to aspire to his level of excellence, pushing the Soviet forces to fight with renewed determination. As time goes by, Vasily hunts more and more high-ranking German officials down, becoming a prime target for the Germans. As Vasily's reputation grows, the Germans take notice and assign Major König, a highly skilled sniper, to eliminate him. König's mission is clear: neutralize the threat that Vasily poses to German forces and demoralize the Soviet soldiers, who see him as a hero. The scene shifts, introducing Sasha, a young boy who idolizes Vasily. Sasha expresses his admiration and dreams of becoming a sniper like him. He invites Vasily to his home, where Vasily meets Sasha's mother, Mrs. Filipov. Danilov later joins them and suggests that Vasily should respond to the fan letters he has received, emphasizing his role as a symbol of hope for the Soviet people and their unyielding resistance against German forces. It is here that Tania makes her entrance, recognizing Vasily from his frequent appearances in the newspapers. She admires his reputation as a skilled sniper, which inspires many, herself included. Her intelligence, courage, and fluency in German quickly set her apart, leaving a strong impression on both Danilov and Vasily. Tania's fluency in German, rooted in her education, makes her valuable in interpreting enemy communications and deciphering strategies, adding hope to their cause. Danilov, always seeking ways to strengthen their efforts, recognizes Tania's potential. He persuades her to join the headquarters, emphasizing how her linguistic skills could help decode German plans. Initially hesitant, Tania eventually agrees, driven by her commitment to the war effort and her people. The focus shifts to Vasily embarking on a new mission with two fellow soldiers. Positioned amidst debris, he carefully lines up his target and shoots. However, when he approaches to retrieve the badge of a fallen German soldier, he discovers a mannequin instead. It's a trap. Realizing the danger, Vasily watches as one of his comrades is killed by none other than Major König, the legendary German sniper known for his precision and cunning tactics. The sight of König's deadly efficiency leaves Vasily acutely aware of the formidable adversary he is up against. Vasily and his remaining companion hide among the ruins as German planes bomb the area, causing chaos and destruction. Amid the devastation, the surviving soldier disregards Vasily's warning and attempts to flee to a safer spot. This decision proves fatal as König shoots her down with ruthless precision. Devastated, Vasily knows outsmarting König will require skill and resolve. The scene shifts, and we see König polishing his shoe from Sasha. Upon recognizing that Sasha knows Vasily, König bribes him with food and chocolate and asks about Vasily's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Danilov informs Vasily about König and his mission to eliminate him, introducing Kulikov as his new partner. Kulikov, a skilled sniper, learned his craft at König's sniper school in Germany. Vasily is now partnered with Kulikov, who teaches him advanced sniper tactics. König, the German sniper, becomes a key figure in their battle of wits and skill, always trying to outmaneuver Vasily. The next day, Vasily, Kulikov, and a soldier named Volodya are sent to an old building to eliminate German snipers. The trio somehow manages to hide under the ruins, waiting patiently for the Germans. Volodya suddenly remembers he forgot his suit and runs to retrieve it. However, he is captured by the Germans. When the Germans ask him about Vasily's location, he refuses to speak. They force him to wear a German soldier's uniform and send him out to wire the telephone line. As he crawls out, he is shot by Kulikov, who mistakes him for a German soldier, revealing their location to the Germans. Things take a more horrific turn when the Germans set up an ambush. They know Vasily and his fellow soldiers' location and wait for them to emerge into the open. As they advance, the duo manages to evade the Germans and find refuge in another room. In a risky move, Kulikov jumps first, followed by Vasily. The moment Kulikov steps into the open, König, the German sniper, shoots him dead, leaving Vasily in shock. Now alone and vulnerable, Vasily is forced to face the battle ahead. The scene begins with Nikita pressuring Danilov to eliminate Major König. When Danilov reaches headquarters, he meets Tania, who tells him that she no longer wants to work there. However, Danilov insists that, given her knowledge of German, she would be more valuable in the headquarters. Vasily, heartbroken by the death of his fellow soldier, returns to headquarters and meets with Danilov. Danilov promises to provide him with more information about König and asks him to speak to Tania, advising her to stay behind instead of joining the front lines. When Vasily speaks to Tania, she, determined to avenge her family's death at the hands of the Nazis, replies that she wants to fight on the front lines to kill as many German soldiers as possible in order to take revenge on the Nazis. Supporting her decision, Vasily gives her Kulikov's rifle. Meanwhile, Tania's younger brother, Sasha, is working for Major König. A poor boy caught in the war, he helps König by revealing Vasily's movements. Sasha informs König about Vasily's upcoming whereabouts, setting the stage for a deadly confrontation. As Vasily arrives at an abandoned building, he falls into Major König's deadly trap. As soon as they enter the ruined building, König shoots at him. Luckily, Vasily escapes and hides behind some iron debris, unable to reach his rifle. Desperately, he tries to retrieve it using a knife and rope. However, each time he attempts to pull the rifle toward him, König shoots at the rope, preventing him from succeeding. Suddenly, the sound of bombing planes overhead causes an explosion, sending shards of glass scattering throughout the area. One of the glass shards reflects Vasily's face, and now König can see Vasily's face. Vasily also spots König's location. Vasily's fellow soldier, who is returned to headquarters from the building, tells them about the situation. Hearing that Vasily is in danger, Tania rushes to his aid. As she approaches, Vasily urgently instructs her to create a blinding reflection by pointing the scattering glass shard toward König's position. Tania follows Vasily's plan, using the scattered glass to create a brief but effective diversion that distracts Major König. Later, Vasily and Tania share a quiet victory, feeling relieved yet aware of the growing danger. The next day, Vasily tells Danilov that he no longer wants to be the hero of the Soviet army, feeling overwhelmed and longing to be just an ordinary soldier. Danilov listens sympathetically and then suggests they use Sasha, the double agent working for König. With Sasha's help, they plan to locate König and use him to eliminate the German sniper. With Sasha's assistance, Vasily learns of König's next whereabouts and hides among the bodies of fallen soldiers. He lies silently among the dead, waiting for the perfect moment to ambush König, just as his grandfather had taught him in his childhood. Hours pass, but König does not appear. Exhausted, Vasily starts to doze. At that moment, a German soldier arrives and begins searching and collecting the valuable belongings of the dead soldiers. After collecting the dead soldiers' badges, identity cards, and other belongings, the soldier finds Vasily's badge and ID card, believing him to be dead. He hands it over to the German headquarters. The German high-ranking officials then order König to leave the battlefield, as his mission is considered complete. The German headquarters announces over the loudspeaker that Vasily has been killed, causing a surge of excitement among the enemy soldiers. As König knows that Vasily is still alive, he plans an ambush and deliberately informs Sasha of Vasily's next whereabouts, knowing that, as a double agent, Sasha would pass the information along to Vasily. After many days when Vasily doesn't show up, Danilov starts to believe he is dead and publishes the news. But then, Vasily appears, surprising everyone. Later, Vasily learns from Sasha that Tania plans to go to the station to kill Major König. Vasily and Danilov follow her and soon catch up. Upon seeing Vasily alive, Tania embraces and kisses him, revealing their love. Danilov, who also loves Tania, is heartbroken and, unable to control his emotions, returns to headquarters. The scene shifts to König dragging Sasha, and after killing him, hanging his lifeless body from a light post. Upon seeing her brother's body, Tania breaks down in mourning, losing control of her emotions. However, Vasily stops her from approaching and promises to kill König. Vasily takes Tania and Danilov to Mrs. Filipov's house, where they decide not to reveal the truth about Sasha. Instead, they tell her Sasha had befriended the Germans to shield her from the pain of his death. Heartbroken, Mrs. Filipov prays for her son's safety, seeking peace in the turmoil. The scene shifts again, with Tania accompanying Mrs. Filipov to board a boat. Suddenly, a bombing occurs, leaving Tania severely injured and unconscious. After examining her, the doctor informs Mrs. Filipov that Tania's chances of survival are very low. Nevertheless, Mrs. Filipov pleads with the army medical officers and manages to have Tania admitted to a wartime medical camp for treatment. Danilov, burdened by guilt, informs Vasily of Tania's death. Devastated, Vasily steadies his rifle, outwardly focused, but inwardly weighed down by grief and anger. Danilov, broken and numb, emerges from cover with slow, resigned movements. He no longer cares about survival, consumed by the pain of loss. Exposed in the open, he makes himself an easy target for König. As König shoots Danilov, mistakenly believing he has killed Vasily, he steps out from his sniper dugout into the open. At that moment, he realizes that Vasily is aiming at him, his rifle trained on König. Accepting his fate, König removes his hat as a final act of dignity before Vasily fires the fatal shot. After shooting König, Vasily places his rifle in Danilov's dead hand to show him honor and gratitude. The scene shifts to 2 months later, showing German soldiers defeated and surrendering as Stalingrad is liberated. The Russians celebrate their victory. Vasily receives a letter from Tania, revealing she has been admitted to a medical camp. They reunite there, bringing the incredible movie to a close.